Missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He has educated acquired language skills and earned a BA in German teaching from BYU. With John's arrival for Schwarzenegger's, Brian has an intimidating presence between the pipes for the Cougars over the past 3 years. Fortunately, his wife Brooke saw beyond the rough exterior, and the happy couple is expecting their first child within the week. Thank you, Brian, for all you've done for BYU soccer, and congratulations on an outstanding career. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Hill. Next up, Scott Heath. Scott is overwhelmed with an insatiable love for the game. Having honed his skills on the rough streets of Provo, playing ballet, Scott brought his talents to BYU following his sister Laura's lead. Nicknamed the Pencil Maker, due to his ability to twist defenders inside and out, Scott claims 2 moments of his career as the most memorable. The first was scoring as a freshman against Real Salt Lake in a friendly match, and the second came just days ago as the team clinched its first playoff berth since 2007. He also highlights the team trips to Fiji, Puerto Rico, and Costa Rica as stellar moments. Scott graduated with his Master's of Accounting degree and will be taking his talents to Ernst & Young in San Jose, California coming on. Thank you, Scott, for all you've done for BYU soccer, and congratulations on an outstanding career. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Eaton. Next, Colby Bauer. Colby hails from Mesa, Arizona, and can be quite an elusive catcher in his spare time. Known for winning more balls than anybody ever in the history of the game, Colby credits his father for being his #1 fan throughout his career. Colby is a business marketing major and is taking his entrepreneurial spirit into a little venture called marriage, and has convinced Mackenzie King to invest everything she has forever. Captain Bauer, as he's often called, is walking away from BYU with a stronger testimony of Jesus Christ as a Savior, with his best friends, and with a better education to prepare him for the rest of his life. He would like to express his love to the university and the soccer team, and we express it right back. Thank you, Colby, for all you've done for BYU soccer, and congratulations on an outstanding career. Ladies and gentlemen, Colby Bauer. Next is Jonathan Hunka. Growing up in Detroit, John found refuge from tough crowds in local video arcades. There he learned discipline and focus
from constantly playing Dance Dance Revolution, a game which allowed his Uruguayan dancing heritage to flourish. Foot skills developed in the arcade quickly translating to the soccer field as John's dad taught him how to play the beautiful game from a young age. Known for his commitment and passion on the field, all of John's emotions bubbled over as his 7-year wait to return to the playoffs was realized this season. In his spare time, John enjoys chess and considers himself a philosopher, always carrying a keychain-sized replica of Rodin's The Thinker in his pocket. After the season, John will be moving to Salt Lake to begin working full-time for Indus Valley Partners as a business analyst. Thank you, John, for all you've done for BYU soccer, and congratulations on an outstanding career. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Hunka. As is customary at BYU, we will begin tonight's match with a prayer. Tonight's prayer will be offered by Tanner Ward, a reserve on the BYU.
to be here at Southfield. We're grateful for the seniors on the BYU team and all that they've given this program and all that they've taught us. And we're grateful for them and their commitment. And bless all the players tonight as they play with safety, that we'll be able to watch a good game. We're grateful again for this opportunity to be here. We love thee. And they're grateful for this great nation and all the great things it holds for us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's officials. The first assistant referee is Alex Crelo. Second assistant referee, Karsten Gilwald. The referee is Mitch Lillywide. And the fourth official is Scott Reynolds.
Camera, was Alex your utility last on fourth?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Good. She just always like way stressed about it.
Dude, that's her personality though. She's stressed about everything.
I know. I told her I was like,
Was she freaking out? Hold on, wait.
yeah. Slow down. Slow down. Like,
All right, Cougar fans, it's time to put your hands together and please welcome the Albuquerque Soul. Starting in goal, number 00, Lucas Champenois. Defender, number 23, James Urbany. Defender, number 3, Ben Bremen. Defender, number 19, Fabian Carbajal. Defender, number 13, Jacob Gadayev. Midfielder, number 11, Darren McAfee. Midfielder number 8, Ivan Ramirez.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Provo, Utah for senior night as the BYU men's soccer team hosts the Albuquerque Soul. Alongside Sean Blymiller, I am Rick Aaron. Hello, everybody. Sean, the season has just flown by, and here we are, the 13th match of the regular season, the final home regular season match for these BYU Cougars.
Yeah, we've got an interesting game on hand for us. It's good for the younger players because BYU sealed a playoff spot, so the younger guys are going to have a look. We talked to Coach Watkins before the game. He mentioned this will be an opportunity for them to get on the field. And guys that normally haven't had much playing time, they're going to get more time.
So while it's senior night, in terms of honoring the 4 seniors on the team, Colby Bauer, Brian Hale, Jonathan Yuka, and Scott Heaton, it might turn out to be freshman or sophomore night. Sean, taking on an Albuquerque team that has struggled to score so far this season, just 8 goals in 12 matches so far. They've been shut out in half their matches. 6 times they've come away with the goose egg.
Yeah, their coaching staff today mentioned to us in their communication through email and through on the phone, they mentioned that they'd like to go with the younger group, helping them to develop. And he talked a lot about their relationship with the Colorado Rapids, that he tries to build a link and a relationship with them, that players from the Colorado Rapids Academy program have a place to go play at a higher level. So they've got at least 4 that I'm aware of. They might have some more that have grown up in the Colorado Rapids Academy program. But they have a lot of variety on this team from players across the country, different universities that we'll highlight throughout the game. But it should be interesting to see what they bring. Like you mentioned, they've struggled to score goals.
Getting a good look at the BYU starting lineup right there. We'll run through that for you in just a few minutes. BYU 5-0-1 at home so far this season. 5 victories, no losses, 1 tie. Quite frankly, they were robbed in their last match here against the LA Missioneros on Friday night. A 2-2 tie, which should have been a 3-2 win, considering that a questionable handball was not called on the Missioneros. Time now for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
So we've got a warm, breezy night here in Provo, Utah. About 250 camp kids, as they call them, from BYU's various youth soccer camps out on the field, welcoming the Soul and the Cougars to this one.
You know, Rick, I want to highlight some of the things from the Soul's roster, and let's not underestimate this team. They tied FC Tucson last week 1-1. They've got some talent. Serrano, Joaquin Serrano, he's number 18, wide midfielder. He's their leading goal scorer. He's grown up in Spain. He's played with clubs with the Spanish youth national team, which is huge. That's an immense accomplishment already for him. He's played with Deportivo La Coruna, Sporting Gijón, and then you've got players from like Luke Lawrence, which is he plays as center forward. He plays at Fort Lewis College, which is a Division II top-notch program. You have another player, Isaiah Madrid, who's another wide midfielder who played at Florida Gulf Coast University. So some key players that can bring a lot of quality to the game tonight.
Yeah, Madrid is their leading scorer with 3 goals. Nobody else on this Soul team has more than 1. 5 guys with 1 goal apiece. There's their starting lineup. Frenchman Lucas Champenois in the goal tonight. The back line is James Urbani, Ben Bremen, Fabian Carvajal, Jacob Garandia. In the midfield, they've got Darren McAfee, Ivan Ramirez, Joaquin Serrano, and the aforementioned Isaiah Madrid. Up top, they are playing Ricardo Perez and Luke Lawrence, the current college player at Fort Lewis College. We'll take a look at the BYU Cougars starting lineup. As we mentioned, a little bit different in this one. Some familiar faces not in there and some different faces making an appearance. Of course, BYU, as we mentioned, has already clinched the 2nd spot in the Mountain Division and their playoff spot. So not as much to play for tonight. They're going to rest some guys and hopefully prevent some injuries. Brian Hale, the senior from Alpine, Utah, in goal tonight. His parents, Kevin and Carol, are here, along with his wife, Brooke, who is expecting the couple's first child this Saturday, July 13th. So congratulations to them. Junior Larte, Ethan Meyer, Matt Ryder, and Jonathan Hunka, another senior on the back line. Kip Critchlow, Jace Green, and Colby Bauer are in the midfield. Bauer is a senior as well. His parents are here this evening. They are Kevin and Andrea Brower, as well as his fiancée, Mackenzie. And up top, they're playing Winston Sorehates, Garrett G., and Blake Frischnecht. Although that's what the lineup says, we'll see if those are actually the guys as we start out this game.
You know, Coach Watkins had mentioned to us that he's going to attack a lot out of the back today. That's why you see Trevor starting out wide in place of Junior Latte. He said that they might switch places. Junior might come in at half, but they're going to look for Trevor to get in, and he said for him to send him running, were exact words of Coach Watkins.
Well, you see Blake Frischnecht and Jace Green standing at midfield, ready to kick this one off. The Y is still decked out in the Stars and Stripes from last Friday's July 4th game, and we are underway as Frischnecht gets started by playing a long ball, trying to play it to Winston Sorehates, and it's out of bounds.
Can BYU start putting a full 90-minute game together? And that throughout this season so far, they've played well at moments, where they've put good spells of 20 minutes or so together. But when are they going to play a complete 90 minutes? Now the next couple weeks is the next 2 games, this one and then Saturday, is good preparation as they prepare for the playoffs come July 18th.
Yeah, BYU is facing this Seoul team in back-to-back games. They'll meet Saturday at St. Pius X High School in Albuquerque. And kind of an unusual late season situation here. We mentioned BYU with not a lot to play for in terms of standings and points. They already have their 2nd seed and their playoff bid wrapped up. Albuquerque, on the other hand, with a record of 2-5-5 this season in 3rd place in the Mountain Division. They're not going to the playoffs, so they're looking to evaluate some young talent and hopefully get some guys some experience and improve a little bit. FC Tucson is your Mountain Division champion for 2014. They wrapped that up, clinched the division last week. 31 points for FC Tucson. That's the most in the entire Premier Development League. They've got a record of 10 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie.
BYU split with them. BYU was able to beat them here. And then when BYU traveled to Tucson, Tucson got those couple of victories. Remember the fantastic goal nomination of the year, I think. The bicycle kick from top of the 18 from O'Dane Sinclair. I think that is goal of the year no matter what league you're in.
Sinclair might just be the MVP of the Premier Development League this season. He has really come on and played well for FC Tucson. We see a whistle there. Blake Frischneck getting tangled up with a Seoul player.
First foul called of the game. It looks like center referee Mitch Lillywhite is setting a tone early, having a chat with Blake. He's not going to put up with too much, but you like the attitude right away to not, if you do have a bad touch, find a way to get it back, work hard to win possession back.
As Sean mentioned, Mitch Lillywhite is our center referee tonight. Alex Crelo and Karsten Gilwald are working the lines, and the 4th official is Scott Reynolds. That's Kip Critchlow weighing his options, going to push it up, play it off to Junka. And he's going to go back to Hale to reset the whole thing.
You're going to see a lot of the pockets of space right in front of the center backs to bring the ball down and try to possess it as we see Winston chasing a ball down.
What a story Winston Sorhades has been for this BYU team. Started out the season as a reserve, coming on in the 2nd half as a spark plug. He's a sophomore from nearby Pleasant Grove, Utah. Served a LDS church mission in Lyon, France. He's the team's leading scorer with 6 goals. And if you would have seen the first 3 matches of the season for the Cougars, you would have sworn that Blake Frischneck was going to be this team's leading scorer. The tall freshman from Las Vegas playing up top and working his magic with a lot of chances early on.
It'll be interesting to see those two as the years go on with more experience between Winston and Blake, how they develop as attacking players. You've seen Winston develop a lot in just this one season. What is he going to do this next year for BYU?
Well, he's turned from a 20-minute-a-night sub into a 90-minute-a-night attacker and quite a threat on the field. Frischneck is expected to serve a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so we probably will not see him in the blue and white for the next couple of years. Long ball played for Frischneck now. He tries to run down and get on the end of that one.
He faces up his defender.
Off the defender and over the end line for a corner kick for BYU. We have our first corner kick of the night.
I'm interested to see, Rick, who's going to be the first draftee, BYU Cougar draftee into Major League Soccer. BYU's had past interest where players have signed developmental contracts where they've played with teams for 3 games or for 3 days. They've signed contracts, but none of them have been long-term. So I'm interested to see if that ever occurs, takes place.
Sorhades with his hand in the air, ready to take this corner. Puts his right foot into it, sends it into the box, and it's headed away. Nice clearance there for the Soul. All the way back to Kip Critchlow at midfield. Or is that's Henderson? I'm not used to seeing Henderson in the starting lineup, but number 2 for the Cougars. Now Sorhades back with it.
You see his quick feet.
Trying to work his way around a pair of defenders, gets whistled for the foul on number 13. That's Jacob Gandaria.
You could see on the set piece, Albuquerque Soul had everyone in the box. There was not one attacker up high, as we see Ethan Meyer track down this long ball. So you can see that their focus, especially on set pieces, to not give anything easy away. They're going to make sure they crowd that box, and make sure no easy chances come through.
We mentioned the Soul have a French player in goal tonight. He's Lucas Champenois. Plays for St. Mary's University collegially. Now the Soul trying to get something going. '17 is Isaiah Madrid. He's the one with the headband on.
He plays at Florida Gulf Coast University, which is a good program.
Also a good basketball program, at least a couple of years ago in the NCAA tournament. If you see a helicopter fly into our shot tonight, don't be concerned. There's no drone strikes going on. It's a little bit of aerial photography that a local video production company is doing.
Good switch from Winston. Well
this is
done.
Hunka looking for Scott Heaton.
He did well to bring the ball down under pressure and settle it and find the other side of the field. It causes the Soul to shift and cover a lot more space.
There's a ball for Hunka. And there's the whistle.
Had to be close.
Offsides call against BYU. It's going to be Albuquerque's ball.
Had to be close. Looked like a good run from Jonathan Hunka, the overlapping run. Timing looked right. I was impressed with his first touch. Ball's played about head height, and he got his foot up to bring it down on a full sprint.
Sean and I get all of our stats, news, and information from the official website of the Premier Development League. That's uslpdl.com. Again, uslpdl.com for all the exclusive information on the Premier Development League. Dozens of teams playing from coast to coast all across the country. Season winding down, 14 games in the PDL season. This is number 13 of 14 for BYU. As we mentioned, they will be going to New Mexico this weekend for a game against the same Albuquerque Soul. You can follow the Premier Development League on Twitter at USLPDL, and of course you can also follow Nike Soccer, an official sponsor of the Premier Development League.
If we rewind for a couple of minutes, we saw Colby Bauer win the first header of the game. Again, guys, I want you to watch his elevation. He's probably 5'7" in height, but he gets up higher than anyone else on the field.
Not a big guy, playing with a cast on his left wrist. That's the result of a skateboarding injury. He was doing some longboarding down Provo Canyon way back before the season started in May. Colby's parents are here tonight, Kevin and Andrea Bauer, as well as his fiancée, Mackenzie.
Talking to Colby in the last few days, he's just kept mentioning what a dream come true it is for the seniors to be making the playoffs. BYU, the last time making the playoffs was in 2007, so he's talked about what an accomplishment that is for him and his teammates. It's a great ball from Jace Green.
It's an
Trevor
opportunity
serves a
for
good
Trevor
ball.
Henderson. Headed down by Heaton, but it goes off of Frischknecht and over the end line. Going to be a goal kick for the Soul. Yeah, definite improvement for this BYU team. They were a 500 team last season with a record of 6-6-2. Here you see Henderson, the right-footed cross. Frischknecht goes up to try to get it, sails over his head, then Heaton gets his noggin on it, but to no avail. We remain scoreless here in the 10th minute of action.
I love the vision from Jace Green to spring Trevor Henderson forward. So that was probably a 50, 60-yard ball to switch the point of attack. And Trevor's all alone on the other side, has time to get his feet set to serve a ball in the box.
That one booted out of bounds. Albuquerque with a chance to set something up now. Trevor Henderson is a junior here at BYU from Orem, Utah, just down the road. Served a church mission in Toronto, Canada.
He's studying Communications with an emphasis on advertising.
Played back to Champenois. Very interesting result in Brazil today at the World Cup. Germany versus Brazil in the semifinals. A lot of people expecting the host country to win it, but today without Neymar, just completely overwhelmed by the German side. Germans prevailing 7-1. And Sean, it wasn't even as close as that really, as Germany scored early and often, jumping out to a 5-0 lead, and plenty of tears from the Brazilian fans in the stands.
Yeah, I think the biggest exclusion from that game was Thiago Silva. If you had watched the quarterfinal, he had gotten a silly yellow card from preventing the goalkeeper playing out of the back. He stepped in front of a punt and earned a yellow card, which he then had to serve his suspension. And the back line for Brazil was just in disarray. And you saw Germany score 4 goals in, I think it was a span of 5 minutes, which was just unbelievable.
Stunning, especially considering how low scoring that this World Cup has been.
Yeah, and you know, I thought Germany would come away with the win, but I never suspected any type of outcome like that.
I don't think anybody did. You could have gotten astronomical odds at with a prediction of a 7-1 final in favor of Germany. So they'll play the winner of tomorrow's match between Argentina and the Netherlands. Should be a good matchup with Lionel Messi. There's a strike stopped by Brian Hale. Able to get in front of that one for his first save of the night. First real threat from the Soul.
Looked like he saved that with his thigh. Did well to bury it underneath him.
We'll see it again.
There's no parry, nothing to bounce away for.
Isaiah Madrid unleashes one. Kind of surprised Hale a little bit, but he reacted quickly. Was able to snuff it out between his knees. So we're still scoreless. 13th minute of action now. As I was mentioning, Lionel Messi of Argentina, arguably the top player in the entire world, taking on Arjen Robben. No slouch himself, and a very talented Netherlands squad. Should be a good one tomorrow for the right to meet Germany in the World Cup finals.
I think this has got to be a yellow card. At least a yellow. That is a vicious tackle.
There's a yellow shown to number 18, Joaquin Serrano.
It's a player we talked about that was on the Spanish youth national team. He had given up the ball silly, just a silly mistake in the center of the field. Winston punishes him, takes the ball off his foot, it's going to goal. And Joaquin just has a go on his ankle.
We talk about Brazil's massive disappointment today. BYU has a Brazilian player on this team, Pedro Vasconcelos, a junior from Sao Paulo. I was joking before the match, I was going to tease him a little bit about the outcome today, and his teammates told me, Rick, you better watch out. Give it a few weeks because he's still simmering. Here's Hunka. Tries to poke it into the box, and it's knocked away for a corner.
No, I've had a little playful banter back and forth with Pedro, both on Facebook and Twitter. And I've felt a little bit of that bite back from him. He's definitely emotional and follows his Brazilian squad, so don't want to rub it in at all. The Brazilian national team is very emotional. You saw the players crying, and as we see, corner played into the box.
Bauer gets a head on it, sends it just over the crossbar. There's another example of Bauer, one of the shortest guys on the entire field, leaping up, showing that vertical to win the header.
And David Silva, the acting captain for Brazil today, was just so emotional after the game. He mentioned to the fans and to the Brazilian citizens that he wanted to apologize, that he just wanted to bring happiness. He's sorry that he couldn't bring that to the nation.
Another opportunity for Winston Sorhates. Sends it over the box. Bauer, header, bicycle kick, Jace Green. Goal for BYU as the Cougars take the lead now, 15 minutes into this one.
Well, that's on the highlight reel for the season, maybe for his career. As we see the replay come up, Jace Green does an acrobatic move here to get a half scissor, almost a full bike. Let's see if he gets both feet off the ground. I would say it's a scissor.
Got that left cleat on it. Jace Green with the opening goal of the night, and it is a beauty. All started with a nice corner from Winston Sorhates and the header from Colby Bauer. Placed perfectly, and the Cougars have a 1-0 lead.
Perfect goal to show to the campers that are here in attendance tonight. That's why we play the game, make it fun, create a fun environment for them to see. As you see that, as you hear the BYU bench getting excited and wanting their players to get into the game a little bit more off of that excitement from the goal.
Now Albuquerque, Joaquin Serrano just picked up the yellow, sends it into Madrid. He slides and he scores! Albuquerque evening it up 1 minute and 14 seconds later. We'll see it again. Head coach Christopher Watkins is going to watch with us.
Making the run down the side, cuts in the middle, cuts a ball back to Isaiah Madrid. He just first times it to far post. Looks like a diagonal run from Madrid to come from the outside in.
Coach Watkins thought he was offside. To be honest, I thought he was offside as well. It's where the player is positioned when his teammate passes to him. It looked like he was well behind the two Cougar defenders. Either way, it's a 1-1 match now, as BYU was only able to hold the lead for all of 1 minute and 14 seconds.
You know, to be fair, that run that Isaiah Madrid made from outside to in is the hardest for a center back to track. I didn't get a good angle on it. Did look like he was a couple yards deeper than anyone else in an offside position, but if he timed that run perfectly, he could end up exactly where he was and stay onside.
Well, BYU head coach Christopher Watkins certainly knows more about soccer than I ever will. He seemed to think he was offside.
Yeah, I'm not arguing either way. I'm just wanting to make sure both points are seen.
Here's Frischknecht creating some space before it's knocked away. Watkins complaining to our fourth official, Scott Reynolds, that Madrid was 2 yards, 6 feet offsides. As we mentioned earlier, BYU came out on the short end of a missed call in their last match against the LA Missioneros, cost them a possible 3-2 victory and their home winning streak. Instead of being 6-0 at home this season, they're 5-0-1 because of that 2-2 draw on Friday, July 4th. But speaking of that match against the Missioneros, we saw the same thing happen where BYU took a lead and then LA was able to come right back and tie the match. BYU took a 2-1 lead in the second half, and then LA responded right after that. A same type of deal about a minute later. And they say, Sean, that's when you're most vulnerable in soccer, is right after you score a goal, there's a tendency to just kind of let down, and take a breath, and you know, take a little bit of a breather, and the other team can sometimes catch you napping. I think that's what happened to the Cougars there.
Yeah, even from the youth levels on up, at a young age, you teach the players the next 5 minutes after a goal is the most important because that's what sets the tone.
James Urbani gets around a defender.
Great tackle from Ethan Meyer. He does that better than anyone in the league, I think.
Urbani plays for the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. Hunka goes cross field to Sorhates.
It's good skill from Winston. He's got a guy on his back. He's bringing a ball down out of the air, under pressure, taking a touch into space. It's good stuff to not turn that ball over in that circumstance.
Frischknecht plays it out into the corner to Sorhates.
It's a good ball. Trailing runners here. Look at Colby.
It's a header. Oh, saved by Champenois.
What a save. What a great save off of Scott Heaton's header.
Scott's parents are here tonight, Richard and Valerie Heaton. Oh, there's a takedown in the box, and the referee points to the spot. We're going to have a penalty kick, BYU. The 20th minute of action. The Soul are complaining, but I don't think they have a leg to stand on here.
We're going to see the replay coming up here shortly. It looks like Jonathan Hunka, he takes a touch into the box. And defender just commits himself.
There's Hunka
Yeah, and clips at Hunka's legs.
That was number 11, Darren McAfee, collegiate player from Trinity University, picking up the foul. And Jonathan Hunka, the senior on senior night, with his parents, Carlos and Janet, here in the crowd watching him, shoots and scores. He went right side and easily beats Lucas Champenois for the second goal of the game for BYU.
See the body language from Hunka. Watch him open up his hips as the goalkeeper dives. Champenois dives the opposite direction. It's a good placement from Hunka to get a goal, go back up. Like we mentioned just a few minutes ago, the next 5 minutes are so vitally important for BYU to set the tone, to not give anything away.
Fantastic strike by Jonathan Hunka, and the senior scores on senior night. Wild first half so far. 2-1 BYU, 21.5 minutes in.
Well done from Colby to get out of pressure.
Matt Ryder sends it to midfield. Header by Frischnecht. Sorhates pulled down his defender, and he gets called for the foul there.
Jacob Gandaria, it looks like he built a good base against Winston, just held his ground. That's why Winston was called for a foul.
That is Hunka's first goal of the season. He does have 1 assist on the year.
This Isaiah Madrid, this outside attacking midfielder for Seoul, has been a bright spot for them so far. Anytime he's had guys 1v1 isolated.
Matt Ryder plays it back to Brian Hale. Discretion the better part of valor there. And BYU will start from the back with Trevor Henderson here. See if they can hold the lead for more than a few minutes. The last 3 leads they've had, they have not been able to hang on to.
This is good combination.
Henderson.
Good run from Scott.
Scott Heaton shoots and saved by Champenois.
You know, that combination, that link-up play from all the way from Trevor to Winston to Kip to Trevor, and Trevor plays a good ball into Scott Heaton. Scott has a great first touch, brings it down under pressure with a guy on his shoulder. It has a shot on frame, but it goes right at the keeper, as we see an offside call against the Seoul. A good step from the center backs.
Make him go get it.
No lack of excitement so far here on a warm evening in Provo, Utah. Score is 2-1 BYU. We'll get that 2 up for you in the box in just a moment.
Brian Hell's a little upset with Luke Lawrence here for playing the ball away when the offside was called. You know, I think Brian's probably one of the most excited players for that result today. He served his mission in Germany. He is studying to be a German teacher.
While this is the last regular season home match for BYU, it may not be their last match here at Southfield this year. Hunka trying to steal that one away. BYU has put in a bid with the Premier Development League to host a playoff match should they advance past the first round, which is going to be in a week and a half in Las Vegas, Nevada, July 18th and 19th. I believe Coach Watkins told us they're going to play on Saturday the 19th at 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Las Vegas at UNLV.
So you can imagine the heat that would be to play in Las Vegas, mid-July, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Good thing it's not turf, 'cause that would just make it even worse. But Coach Watkins mentioned that the grass field is one of the best in the country.
Most likely against either the Los Angeles Missioneros or the Ventura County Fusion. Those are currently the top 2 teams in the Southwest Division, although it could be versus the Fresno Fuego. Fresno is lurking 2 points out of that second and final playoff spot in the Southwest. 19 points on the season and 1 more to play. So we'll see how that shakes out in the Southwest. The Mountain, as we mentioned, is decided. Congratulations to FC Tucson on the 2014 Mountain Division title. BYU has 2nd place locked up and will be the 2nd representative in the playoffs out of the Mountain Division. The top 2 teams in the Northwest Division, currently the Kitsap Pumas and the Vancouver Whitecaps under-23 squad, have a bye in the first round of the playoffs.
Winston could be in on goal. He'd like the idea. He's looking to play a first-time ball back across the face of the goal to Blake, so he has a first time, just mishits it.
Remains 2-1 here in the 27th minute of action. If you're just joining us, Jace Green of BYU got the scoring started with a beautiful scissor kick, as Sean informed me.
He might argue that it's a bicycle. Well, we could call it a half bicycle. Either way, it's a great goal.
His 3rd of the season. That was in the 15th minute. Then, a minute and 14 seconds later, Isaiah Madrid answered for Albuquerque to tie it up. And just a few minutes ago, Jonathan Hunka scored on a penalty kick, beating Lucas Champenois. And that's where we stand. 2-1 Cougars in the 27th minute of action. Serrano plays it into Luke Lawrence. Jace Green battles him, taps it back to Colby Bauer. Now Hunka. Frischneck turns on it, plays it out into space. Champenois is going to go out there and get it. Has to just kick it out of bounds.
He's been watching Neuer from Germany. Sweeper keeper coming out of his box for a clearance. Otherwise, Scott Heaton's getting on the end of that.
We've got to get a shot for you of this aerial hovercraft. I don't know what to call it, Sean.
Yeah, I don't know either. A helicopter.
Buzzing the skies. What? There's a shot high over the crossbar. It's a unmanned aerial camera vehicle. A drone, as it were. And it's getting some aerial photography. There you go. That's not a UFO, folks. Don't call the authorities. It's a local video production company getting some unique footage from the game tonight. And might be sailing away towards Y Mountain.
As we see a switch from Kip back to Matt Ryder. Keep possession. You'll see the checking runs from the forward players checking back into the space. They want the outside backs getting forward out wide to give the depth. Forwards are checking back to the ball more often tonight, as you've noticed the runs.
When you say checking runs, what do you mean? Because I know it's not the money in their bank accounts.
So checking run is when you start as high as possible. So let's say Blake right now, he's on the top of the 18. He's as high as their center defender is. He would check back to the ball to receive the ball to his feet instead of trying to play a ball out in front of him. So then he checks it to his feet and he lays it off for his teammates that he can play it out into their space, and then he can play the through ball for the outside backs getting into the attack.
So I guess for the field players, it's all about checking, and for the keepers, it's all about saving, to keep the financial analogy going.
And to stay on the financial terms, we've got senior Scott Heaton, who is has his master's degree in accounting, who will be joining the accounting firm Ernst & Young this next year. He's down on the ground and injured. I wouldn't be surprised if he is subbed off. Coach Watkins had mentioned that he's going to want to prevent any injuries, so for that reason you don't see Pedro Vasconcelos. He has an injury that they're taking good care of.
Possible hairline fracture for Pedro.
Yeah, he was not in the starting lineup on this last weekend because he had a stomach flu, but he's not in the lineup tonight because of a fracture. But he mentioned some of the players they'll take out just to make sure no injuries occur.
Coach Watkins also told us he would see how the game is going. If there's any rough play out there, any hacking or chopping, he would get some of his more valued players out. Of course, trying to preserve them for the PDL playoffs coming up in about 11 days. Speaking of finances, maybe Heaton can get a job counting all of his teammate Garrett G's money. She is the CEO of Scan Incorporated. Very successful computer tech company that deals with QR codes.
He was in Utah County magazine for CEOs, young CEOs, highlighting his accomplishments. So we see a back heel from Blake.
Bounces around in the box. BYU can't do anything with it, though. Kip Critchlow sent that one in initially.
We saw Seoul had a lot of numbers back defending.
Isaiah Madrid takes a shot, sends it wide.
You saw him get all the way through that ball. He struck that extremely well. He was going for the near post, just about chest height. I think Brian Hale could have maybe got there. If it was on frame, it would have been a challenge, but luckily Isaiah hits it wide.
About 15 minutes to go here in the first half, depending on how much stoppage time is added. BYU holding on to a 2-1 lead. Trying to get Frischneck loose on the end of that one. That's Jace Green. He has a goal earlier in the match.
Great run. Well done, Jace. Good idea. It's a great run, Scott.
Chris Cartledge is the head coach of the Albuquerque Soul. Sean has been in communication with him about his team, some of his players to watch.
Yeah, he says they have 10 players born in New Mexico that are on the traveling roster, and they focus on younger players of college age looking to help develop their game. And like I mentioned before, he's created a relationship with Colorado Rapids and their academy program.
Here they come again.
It's a good hit.
A shot wide. Interesting makeup of some of these PDL teams.
Well, you see the landscape changing. Academy programs, anything that's U18, U16, so U standing for under 14, under 12, that's considered an academy program. So here, local level, Real Salt Lake has a U16, U18 that have academy programs in Casa Grande, Arizona. They just started up a U12 program in Utah this year. So 11-year-old kids get to travel across the country playing against other academy programs, have the best coaches available.
And of course, the infants and toddlers are enrolled in the U2 program. The Bonos and the Edges, teams like that. Kidding, of course. Not joking about a free kick for Albuquerque just outside of the box. We'll see the foul that led up to this. Luke Lawrence taken down by Ethan Meyer.
You see number 10, Ricardo Perez and Joaquin Serrano on the ball. Want to make sure everyone's marked up in the box. Follow your runners.
Henderson, Critchlow, and Sorhates forming the wall. Sent over them, headed out by Meyer. Hunka tracks it down.
It was a difficult header from Ethan. He does well to just head it away from danger. It's a good takeaway from Matt Ryder.
See if Frischneck can do something with this one. Hangs on to it, looking at his options.
It's a good overlapping runner from him. Runners in the box.
Put too much on that one. Had a good idea. Send it across the face of the goal, but just a little bit too much muscle on the right foot, Blake Frischneck.
You can tell he's wanting to strike a ball with pace. So you want a driven ball that's going to be away from the goalkeeper. It will be right on the head height of your teammates. You could see he just got underneath it.
Champenois plays it out short. Great crowd here tonight. I know we have all the camp kids, but it's an overflow crowd in the stands. Got to be another 4,000 to 5,000 people here for this one. Of course, we had the huge crowd on Friday night because the fireworks following the match at the nearby Stadium of Fire at Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
I think this is a bigger crowd tonight.
Yeah, you cannot get a seat here at South Field on a Tuesday evening. Very warm day along the Wasatch Front here, 100 degrees, if not 100, close to it. Turning into a nice, cool, breezy evening.
Yeah.
Cooler, I should say.
It's cooled down definitely as the nights progressed. As we see Winston on the free kick on the corner kick here.
I haven't kept count, I must admit, but this has got to be the 6th or 7th corner of the first half for BYU.
But look, there's not a sole player anywhere near the 18-yard box. Every one of them.
There's a blast high. Was that Meyer on the end of that one?
Yeah, it was. You hear the coaching staff yelling over here on the sideline. He's telling his players to get higher. Normally, what you want to do, you want to be a man advantage. So you want to be +1. More Cougars defending than attacking players. And there's not a single sole player that is outside of his own 18. Every one of them is defending on corner kicks.
Jamming up the box with a lot of bodies. That's Madrid. Sorhates wanted to swipe it, couldn't quite get there.
Well, this is good pressure. It's making it difficult for Seoul to possess in spots of the field.
It's a takedown by Jace Green. It's going to be a foul, perhaps a card.
Looks like he's going for his pocket.
He's reaching for his pocket. Yes, Mitch Lillywhite shows Jace Green the yellow card. So Green with a goal and now a card.
You know, I think Jace was doing good. I don't think he had to commit himself on a slide tackle at that angle. I think if he just keeps tracking his player, forcing him wide, I think BYU comes away with this.
We'll see the position of his cleats on this, because if you come in from behind with the studs up like that, clipping the back of the right leg.
But you could see the Seoul player didn't have anywhere to go. Just down the sideline, you know, he can have that straight line.
Brian Hale leaps high to make the save. Keep BYU in the lead.
They had cover, our outside backs for BYU. Trevor was there, and our center backs were there for cover as well. So those situations, you don't need to commit yourself as a defender. Don't have to win the ball, just force them in that same direction.
Frischneck tried to get cute, tap it to Trevor Henderson, didn't work out for him. Now here comes Madrid. Ball played back to Serrano. He's got a runner to his right. It's number 23, James Urbani. Instead, it's McAfee to Madrid. There's Urbani. Sends in the cross, flag is up, offsides on Albuquerque.
Hookah almost catches him. He does well to track him, make sure he stays with his back line, with his center backs. It's difficult for an outside back. When you have a runner, coming down the sideline, you've got to make sure that he doesn't get in behind you, and you've got to make sure you stay level with your center backs so you don't get beat on a foot race when a through ball is played.
We mentioned this is a little different look for the Cougars tonight. Could be a much different look Saturday night in Albuquerque. In the regular season finale, Coach Watkins wants to get a lot of young players experience in that game and keep some of his veterans safe on the bench with him.
We've seen the momentum kind of die down a little bit since the penalty kick that Hunka scored in the 21st minute. It's calmed on both sides. BYU's going to want to get the possession back and take control of the game in their favor. Right now, possession's just in the middle of the field, not anything too threatening.
Meyer sends it up into the stands. There's definitely been a little bit of a feeling out phase of this game. Each team waiting to see what the other one's going to do since BYU went up 2-1.
But look at the pressure BYU provides. They're trying to keep them on one side of the field. If they switch it, it becomes harder to defend. But you see Scott stepping.
Perez to Urbani. Tries to get back to it. It's Albuquerque's ball. Yvonne Ramirez.
Isaiah
Madrid,
I think
curling ball.
I think he's had more touches than anyone else on the field, definitely for Seoul.
BYU did a good job to head that one away because the Seoul had an attacker there in the box. Frischneck goes down, gets the whistle.
So that's a perfect definition of a checking run from Blake. You saw him start up higher, and he came back to the ball and got it at his feet from Scott Heaton. That's where he was fouled when he took a touch to try to go away from pressure.
.42 minute of action now. 3 minutes plus stoppage remaining here in the first half. BYU continuing to lead this by a score of 2-1.
Good switching ball from Matt Ryder. See Trevor on his horse.
Shot saved by Champenois. He scrambles to pick it up.
Winston does well to cut in on his left foot and strikes it with his left foot. Goes to the far post.
Get another
Goalkeeper
look at
does
this one.
well to cover that far post and just parry it away.
Just barely got there with his right hand, going airborne on the dive. Speaking of airborne, here comes the drone again. If you hear that buzz in our microphones, it's not a swarm of bees. That is the
here's Scott.
unmanned aircraft. Scott Heaton shoots off the post and right back into the waiting arms of Lucas Champenois. Fortunate bounce for the Seoul. It was nearly 3-1 Cougars. That's worth another look.
You see Jace win the 50-50 ball, serves a through ball right into Scott's path.
Doink.
There's a lot of parts in this. So he receives his pass on stride. He sets his feet well, really well, to have a go when he's running on full stride, and serves at far post. Unlucky to hit the post and not find the back of the net.
Heaton may be kicking himself for that one because a great opportunity, and another centimeter to the left, and that one goes off the post and into the net for a goal. But you can't cry over spilt milk, and on we play. A reminder, you can visit the USL Pro fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/USLPDL.
We're going to take a look at the replay on a foul on Trevor Henderson. Back on live action, we got Scott Heaton serving a ball into the box.
Here we go. Frischnecht able to collect it. Takes his man, 1v1, then turns it back out, spins around again. Sorhates now. Wanted to shoot it, then decided to chip it into the box.
You know, I think
and
there
we have a whistle.
Needs to be a little bit more movement. You saw a lot of players stationary in the box for BYU once Winston got the ball. Needs to be more creativity. Guys checking to the ball, diagonal runs, just to make sure that the Seoul stay true, that they follow their marks, and that they create space for their teammates to run into.
I know it's a no-no in basketball. It might be the same thing in soccer to be ball watching, meaning watching your teammate work solo with the ball and then just stand around and tend to watch. You need to be moving without the ball in soccer as in basketball, creating your next opportunity.
Absolutely, and you know, a lot of your movement, sometimes you might not get the goal. You might not get the ball at your feet, but your movement creates space for your teammates to run into.
Bauer to Green, tries to find Sorhates cutting down the box, but gets intercepted. Kicked up into the stands, going to be Cougars' ball. YouTube is the official online video home of the PDL. Green, Frischneck tried to bicycle that one.
Yeah, he's trying to outdo his teammate Jace Green. Another acrobatic attempt on goal.
Back to YouTube, you can see live games such as this one, also archived games and feature content. You can subscribe for free to the USL PDL YouTube channel today. Go back and watch some of these BYU games that Sean and I have done this season. We've seen some outstanding play from Frischnecht, Sorhates, Scott Heaton. Some great goalkeeping from both Brian Hale and Jake Peterson. And some pretty good goals from the opposition as well. Check out the Missioneros' Brian De La Fuente from Friday night with a world-class strike for the second goal of the night for LA, the one that tied it up in an eventual 2-all draw.
He brought a full volley. He struck that as a full volley, so a 40-yard ball, 30-yard ball out of the air.
Take a look at it and you'll see what we're talking about. He set himself up and then twisted his hips, completely rotated to the ball, hit it perfectly. BYU player goes down, no whistle. Madrid goes back to work. We are in stoppage time, about a minute in to injury time here.
We heard the fourth official signal to the coaches that there would be 3 minutes of
Isaiah
time.
Madrid. He's dangerous, plays this one out wide. Ricardo Perez poked away by Trevor Henderson.
It was a good job by Kip to prevent the counterattack. Serrano was out wide, 1v1 here, and Kip just prevented a through ball played down the line, slowed the attack a little bit.
Corner kick for Ricardo Perez. This may be the first corner of the night for Albuquerque. As we mentioned, BYU with already 6 or 7. So many I've lost track. Headed away by Scott Heaton. As we mentioned, Heaton's parents, Richard and Valerie, here tonight. I asked Richard Heaton if he was the source of Scott's soccer genes. He said if he has them, they're recessive, because he certainly can't play like that. Heaton, probably the best foot skills of any of these BYU players. Would you agree, Sean?
Yeah, you can tell his 1v1 abilities is up to par to anyone, I think, in the league. You can look in the highlights. I can't remember if it was the Las Vegas Mobsters or I can't remember which team it was that did a full shoulder tackle on him because he had beaten him down the line and made him look pretty silly as a defender. He has great ability on the ball, and you know BYU soccer is going to miss their #1 fan, Scott's younger brother Russ. He actually walked with them in the Provo parade this last weekend. But he has been a special soul for this team and been into most games and #1 fan. A lot of screenshots of him celebrating over there in the stands during the games.
Closing seconds of the first half. McAfee. That's Luke Lawrence taken away. We'll probably hear a whistle here. Maybe one more chance for BYU, probably not. And I think that's just going to about do it. Mitch Lillywhite blows his whistle, and that is the end of the first half.
You know, Rick, I want to take just 1 second to give a shout out to the Real Salt Lake family, if we could. If you guys can check out again my hashtags, Save Claudia. Salvador Perez, his niece in Mexico, suffers from the Marfan syndrome, and she's needing surgery. So the Real Salt Lake is having an event on August 4th at Talon's Cove. They have a website set up where you can give donations or you can be part of the 5K or the golf tournament. They also have a motorcycle event as well. So they're looking for more participants to help raise some money to save a young girl's life. I'll have it again on my Facebook page tonight and Twitter as well. So please check that out.
You can follow Sean on Twitter at Sean Blymiller. You can follow me at Rick Aaron, RICKAARON, for BYU Soccer, jokes, sports observations. Right now, it's 2-1 at halftime. Goals by Jace Green and Jonathan Hunka of BYU, and a strike from Isaiah Madrid of Albuquerque. Sean and I will be back with the second half of action in just a few minutes.
Once again, if you have some empty seats by you, please stand up and raise your hands. Thank you.
Okay, Cougar fans, this is the final halftime of the season. If you are loving this game and you're a Cougar fan, let's hear you make some noise. Good times. How many of you were here for the 4th at that game? Yeah? Did you get some fireworks loving? Wasn't that awesome that night? It's good stuff. Okay, here we got, first thing we got a relay race. Okay, we've picked some campers from BYU camps. We've picked some BYU women's soccer players. And we have some special guests here. What's your name and where you're from?
I'm Elina, and I'm from the Netherlands.
She is from the Netherlands. And what are you doing here?
We are here for a soccer camp for Balloon Nights, and we give soccer practice.
I'll tell you who's going to give you soccer practice tomorrow is Argentina. You know what I'm talking about? Netherlands and Argentina. My mom's from Argentina, so they have to win. What's your name? Where you from?
My name's Raymond. I'm from Holland.
He's from Holland as well. So who's going to win? Netherlands or Argentina?
Netherlands, of course.
Of course, you would say that. And over there, her name is Tamar. There she is. She's also a coach. That girl who's about the same height and has the same legs as I do, okay? So here we go. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to explain. The first person with the ball, this is a relay race. The first person dribbles there. That second person doesn't even touch the ball and just has to dance all the way back over here. You just do your dance strut, do your stuff. Then the next person here is going to dribble the ball backwards. Dribble the ball backwards like the moonwalk back there. And then the last two people over there, are going to do a wheelbarrow back. That is for the victory. You figure out how you do it, and we'll make it work. Okay, you get it? Dribble down, dance back, dribble backwards, wheelbarrow. You're not going, Eager. Okay, we got Jaden from the women's soccer team right here. We got Nikki from the women's soccer team right here, and a bunch of kids. When the music starts, you go. Do we have music ready? Count down with me from 10, 9, 8. There you go. Go, Argentina. Now just come and dance. Just dance, baby. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Now dribble backwards. Here they go. These are the real professionals here. Here they go. We got the Netherlands. We got women's soccer. Now do a wheelbarrow. Do a wheelbarrow. Cheer for your team. Cheer for your team. We got a close one right here. Don't worry about that ball. Yes, here we go. Let's give a round of applause. Great job. They didn't even make it. That's okay. You were being extra efficient with the ball. Okay, what's your names and where you're from?
I'm Avery, and I'm from Alpine.
I'm Olivia, and I'm from Idaho.
Idaho! Yeah, let's hear it for Idaho. Okay, let's give these coaches that are visiting a round of applause. Thank you for participating. Let's give it up for the BYU women's soccer team as well. And these winners right here, which get 3 free t-shirts, some BYU t-shirts, we have them right here from our assistant, Philippa, who is from England. There you are. Yay. How's the World Cup for you guys?
Don't want to talk about it.
Okay. There we go. They get 3 free shirts. Great job. You can grab those cones and head off. I need about 4 or 5 single freshman guys. 4 or 5 single freshman guys to come down here right now to the fence. Right here. Are you guys single freshman guys? Okay. These three. Woo! High school does not count.
Awesome.
That's okay. Your time will come, buddy. Your time will come. Okay, come out here. Okay, come out here. Are you a freshman too? Okay, whatever. Okay, 4 guys. Face the crowd. Now let's bring out our dating game freshman girl. Come on out here, flanked by her lovely wing women. Come on out here. Let's see a little hustle. Okay. So we know freshman year is fraught with different difficulties and lots of food and frustrations and awesomeness. We're going to get it started right here. We have a freshman. What's your name here?
Celeste.
Celeste, it would be. Are you celestial?
Of course.
Okay. So where are you from?
I'm from California.
Where?
Los Altos.
Los Altos, which is Spanish for?
The hills.
I don't think so, but that's good enough. Okay. So, what are your names and where you're from?
Ashton from Fort Worth, Texas.
From Fort Worth. And yourself?
Alex from Portland, Oregon.
And you wouldn't shave, ye from Portland.
Just one day, I
Next.
swear. Ty Seifert, Oregon.
Oregon. You recycle much?
No.
Okay. Your name and where you're from?
Parker from Temecula, California.
Temecula. A little I-5 action there. Okay, so here's how it's going to go. This lovely Celeste here is just dying to go on a date now that she's newly moved to Provo. Okay, and so what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to do the best job you can to answer the question, and then the crowd is going to help Celeste pick the guy to go on a date with her. Okay? And now if you don't have money, she has... Okay, there you go. She has a Dining Plus signature card at the Cannon Center. Okay. So here we go. Ashton's your name, correct? Why don't you describe to everyone your perfect first date?
Perfect first date, get to know each other. Maybe go out for some food, go on a hike, because I like the outdoors.
Okay, simple man. He's going to go out to eat and then go on a hike, and I guess she'll just walk home from there. Okay? Next, there you go, Ashton. Okay, now, what's your name again?
Alex.
Alex, you are excited and peppy.
So excited right now.
Yes, you are. Why don't you describe the ideal setting for your first kiss?
Well, I think there's no better place to have a first kiss than a BYU soccer game, am I right? I mean, like, this is the place I would want to be. This is where it happened.
Okay, right here at Southfield, Celeste. Okay, what's your name again?
Ty.
Okay, Ty, why don't you describe your workout routine for a week? Just describe what makes you the 4% body fat that you are.
All right, so each day I do around 5 million push-ups, somewhere around that. I like to pick up as many cats as I can, kind of just lift them up, see how long I can hold them. Yeah, that's about it.
Hashtag cat lifter. Okay. Okay, what's your name? Tell us again where you're from.
Parker from Temecula, California, San Diego area.
Okay, Parker from Temecula. So why don't you tell the crowd just your best features? Just talk about yourself a little bit, just what makes you the man for Celeste, the man she needs.
I'm not the man that she needs, but I'm the man that she deserves. If you guys haven't seen me, I've devoted the last 18 years of my life to walking on my tippy toes, so my calves are rock hard as usual. I'm trying out for the, what's the big ballet team? You know, the Russian Philip or whatever.
Okay, great. Great. We have a lot of truth and a lot of falsehoods here. Okay, so Celeste, why don't you just tell everyone what you're looking for in a guy for your first date here at BYU?
All right, I'm looking for someone that's really nice and really fun and really cute.
Nice, fun, and cute. Sounds like a basic woman. Crowd, you're going to vote now from your left to your right. Who deserves Celeste's first date? Do you like Ashton? Do you like this guy in Southfield? How about the cat lifter? How about the man she deserves? Celeste, I think you're going to have to pick. Here you go. It's your turn. Who do you pick for your first date here?
All right, I think that one goes to Parker. That was it.
Parker! Let's give it up for Parker and Celeste. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. There you go. No full body hugging. Okay, and these three guys are the leftovers. Let's give it up for the leftovers. Come on off. You're all going to get some prizes. And right before halftime ends and the game starts, what we want to do, you remember that big, huge flying camera that looks like and sounds like a huge mosquito? They're going to fly it over the whole crowd right now, and they want to get you all up on your feet, going crazy for the Cougars. So everyone get up on your feet. Everyone get up on your feet. And we're going to pretend that we scored on that goal. We're going to pretend we scored on the east goal. Here it comes, everybody! Look over there! Okay, it's gonna fly back this way. So keep on cheering after it turns around like we scored. Everyone keep going!
Absolutely. And we are all set for the second half of action here. BYU huddled up, Albuquerque ready to go. Once again, I am Rick Aaron, alongside Sean Blymiller, former BYU Cougar and BYU Hawaii player. There he is. Say hello, everybody. Got a packed house here tonight in Provo, Utah. 3,000 fans on hand, a capacity crowd here at Southfield. BYU leading 2-1 on goals by Jace Green and Jonathan Hunka. The Albuquerque Soul have a goal by Isaiah Madrid, and we're about to get underway with the second 45 minutes of action here from Southfield. Sean, impressions of the first half, and what are you expecting in the second?
You know, I like to see BYU keep the ball for longer spells, and you might hear that a lot from me. I like possession, but they need to keep the ball for longer spells, can have good connection, multiple players touching the ball, and I'd like to have them have the possession in the attacking third. Attacking third, if you split the field, if you're looking at me right now, right down the middle is the first third, right in the center of the field, and then you have the attacking third and defensive third. So you want to make sure that a lot of the possession is more in the attacking third and be creative in that space to try to find goal-scoring opportunities.
We'll see if we have any close encounters of the third kind as we are underway here. Albuquerque with first possession of the second half. And promptly played out of bounds back to BYU. It appears to be the same 11 that we saw in the first half for BYU. No substitutions yet.
I imagine at the 60th minute, some substitutions will be changed, is my guess.
Senior night here at BYU. Cougars honoring their 4 seniors on this 2014 squad. That's Blake Frischnecht, a freshman, playing it back to Ethan Meyer. Colby Bauer, goalkeeper Brian Hale, Jonathan Huka, who has a goal tonight on a penalty kick in the 21st minute, and Scott Heaton are your 4 BYU seniors.
That was a great ball from Ethan Meyer all the way to the opposite side of the field. This is good. This is exactly what I was talking about. Possess in the attacking third. Have some creativity. Have some different runs. Guys covering different space. Don't get stagnant.
It's Frischnecht playing it out to Winston Sorhates. Sorhates, the corner of the box. Takes it in, sends in a cross. Scott Heaton sends it over the goal. Goal kick for the Soul.
You know, Winston does well to get around the corner on his player, get a service into the box. Maybe a little bit too hard. He's looking for Blake's head or Jace's head in the trailing run. Here's Colby getting up.
Colby Bauer constantly contending for those headers. BYU media manager Chanel Klein informing us of the attendance tonight. We had just about 3,000 people here on Friday night for a 2-2 draw with the LA Missioneros. Even more here this evening. The fans are packed, an overflow crowd on the east and west ends of the south stands. And BYU actually would like to host a playoff game here. We'll tell you what's in store for this Cougars team. They've got their final regular season match of the year at Albuquerque against the same Soul squad Saturday night at St. Pius X High School in Albuquerque. Then it's on to the playoffs. BYU, the second team in the Mountain Division, going to be heading to Las Vegas. They'll be going down on Friday, July 18th for a match on Saturday the 19th against the first place team. There's a strike well wide by Albuquerque. Goal kick for Hale.
Serrano had that strike.
Either the first, they'll be playing the first place team of the Southwest Division. That could be either the Ventura County Fusion, the LA Missioneros, or possibly the Fresno Fuego. Most likely the Missioneros or the Fusion, though. That's going to be a late afternoon game, 5 o'clock, I believe, at UNLV. A hot one in the desert. If BYU should win that one, they have put in a bid with the Premier Development League to host a playoff game the following weekend. That would be Saturday, the 26th of July. So who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but Sean and I could be back on the internet airwaves with you again for a playoff match.
The coaching staff has invited us to travel with the team and team buses. We'll see if that ever happens to be an environment that'd be fun. I'm sure they're talked about traveling on the 18th to get down there a day early for the playoffs so that they get a training session in, maybe get acclimated to the heat and the environment a little bit a day early before their big game, biggest game of the season.
All you BYU fans down in Southern Nevada, come out and support the Cougars in that one. You've been watching them on the live streams on YouTube, KSL.com, DeseretNews.com, and BYUSoccer.com all season long. Now come out to see the Cougars play in the playoffs at UNLV. Always a great Cougar crowd when any of the teams play in Las Vegas, with the old Mountain West showdowns between the Runnin' Rebels and the Cougars in the Mountain West Conference tournaments. And all those years the BYU football team played in the Las Vegas Bowl. It's kind of home away from home for BYU.
Especially for Blake Frischnecht, who's a native of Las Vegas. I'm sure it'll be fun for him to get back into his home crowds.
Yeah.
There's Winston on the far post, or the far side of the field.
Burst of speed by Jonathan Hunka to take it upfield. Now Frischnecht plays it back for Colby Bauer.
Coach Watkins is telling him to
played out
keep
wide
it
for
and
Sorhates.
spread it out. You see Winston get out wide and earn a corner for BYU.
First corner kick of the second half for the Cougars.
You saw the maturity from Blake Frischnecht there. You got the ball out wide. You saw Winston making the run on the far side of the field. It was a difficult ball to play. He elected to keep possession, just play the short ball to Colby Bauer to allow things to develop, and that allowed numbers to get in the box. Now we see a corner kick off the end of that.
Sorhates plays it short. Meyer collects it. He's got a rocket right foot and sends it high and wide.
You can see from his reaction, he wished he had done better with that. The first ball that came out, his first touch got out a little bit too far out in front of him. Looked like Isaiah Madrid came out and pressured him early to make sure he didn't set his feet. And then Ethan took a touch by him and had a strike, but he sailed it a little bit too high.
We got a good look at Seoul keeper Lucas Champenois, native of France, plays for St. Mary's University. That one's going over the goal.
Looks like we have a Seoul substitution coming on. Looks like Nathaniel Pacheco will be coming on.
Pacheco plays his college soccer at Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington.
Coming in as he's listed as a center forward on the roster. Looks like it's Serrano making way for him.
Going back to Champenois, I wonder if he ever finds any decent French food in Albuquerque. Perhaps crepes topped with green chilies. So number 18, Joaquin Serrano, is out for the Soul. He picked up a yellow card in the first half. And Nathaniel Pacheco comes into the match.
It's quite surprising. I thought if it wasn't Isaiah Madrid, then it was Serrano who was the most creative for Seoul in that first half. A little surprised to see him come off. Maybe he's taken an injury, or the coach is worried about him giving up a red card.
He would be ineligible for the next match, I believe.
That's correct.
The home and season finale for the Soul Saturday night in Albuquerque.
BYU is going to want to keep everything in front of them. So in a defensive posture, you want to make sure that all of the runs are tracked, and they can have the ball for some periods of time, just to make sure that no runners get in behind the center backs, no penetrating runs. And then that just allows for the Soul to give up possession, playing the ball out of play.
Throw in by Hunka to Bauer, immediately gets tangled with the player. He's called for the foul. Quick restart for the Soul. It's Pacheco just in, and fans on the shot. Wishes he had that one to do over again. Had it teed up right on his right foot, took a big swing at it, and just barely got any of the ball.
Yeah, Ethan did well to do the first pressure. Matt Ryder was your second defender, and behind as a supporting defender. And he provided enough pressure for Pacheco just to have a go at the ball and have a whiff.
Tomorrow night's action in Southern California will determine a lot with what happens in that Southwest Division. Current division leading LA Missioneros are at home against the San Jose Earthquakes under-23 squad. That one at the Glendale Sports Complex, north of downtown LA. Also, the Ventura County Fusion in action against the Orange County Pateadores Blues. That one going to be played at Ventura College. We'll check the standings in the Southwest because, as we mentioned, it does determine who BYU will face in the playoffs a week from Saturday in Las Vegas. Currently, right now, the Missioneros are in first place with 22 points, a record of 6-2-4 on the season. The Fusion just 1 point back, 6-3-3. So the difference between a loss and a tie is the difference between first place and second place in the Southwest right now, with both the Missioneros and the Fusion at home tomorrow night. Back here in Provo, the Cougars continue to lead 2-1 in the 56th minute of action.
One thing I want to keep an eye on for the second half, number 19 for the Sol, Fabian Carbadal, he was noticed at just open tryouts, so he's no previous senior level soccer experience, but he was given a spot, now starting center back. Interesting to see how he does the rest of the game.
As we mentioned in the first half, it's an interesting mix of players on some of these PDL sides. You have college all-star teams to some effect, players from major Division I programs such as Creighton University and the University of New Mexico. Then you have a couple of foreign international players thrown into the mix, such as Lucas Champenois or the Spanish player Joaquin Serrano.
I mean, and to make the Spain national team, even as a youth player, is pretty significant. As we see Scott get a good first touch. Winston's streaking.
Sorhates now. Knocked off the ball by Carbajal. Still battling for it now. Carbajal comes away with it. Trevor Henderson battling for the ball, maybe a little bit too much. Gets whistled. Jacob Gandaria gives it up to Pacheco. Pacheco just into the match already with a couple of good opportunities in the box.
Yeah, he's been very active. He's seen a lot of the ball so far. I imagine Winnie might be coming off. Winston, I should say, would be the first substitution for BYU. He looks to be tired.
Madrid with a shot, but the whistle had blown.
Looks like center referee Mitch Lillywise.
And he's showing a yellow to Isaiah Madrid.
Yeah, this is the second time Madrid has done that. Earlier in the game, in the first half, Madrid was called for offside, and the ball was played. He played the ball after the whistle was blown, played it into the net, and you'll see again, whistle's blown, and he still continues to have a
play is dead, and he still takes a shot that Brian Hale parries away. Hale asks for the card and receives it.
Scott called for a foul. Looks like he was trying to shield the player. You can shield the player as long as the ball is in playing distance.
Pacheco to Madrid. That one got away from him. Henderson knocked it away. Now Bauer feeds it out to Sorhates.
Trevor did extremely well. He was the last defender in that situation.
There's a giveaway by BYU. This has haunted them in the past this season. Madrid tries to tee it up, instead nudges it out wide. Pacheco is making a run into the box.
BYU's going to want to make sure they're marked up. Follow
Here comes
the runners.
Urbani on the overlapping run and taps it harmlessly to Brian Hale. He had Isaiah Madrid coming in full steam on the far post, but Hale got in the way to intercept it. Looks like Junior Latte is coming for BYU.
Did you just use overlapping run?
I've learned that from you, Sean.
That was perfect, too. Well done, Rick.
Thank you.
Well done.
I've gotten a crash course in my football knowledge sitting next to you. I think most of it from osmosis, just after 7 matches sitting next to you, Sean. It just emanates off of you and has permeated my brain.
Well, I'm glad you picked that up. I know I say that phrase quite a bit.
Trevor Henderson out of the match here in the 60th minute. Solid performance by Trevor Henderson in the starting lineup tonight. Junior Latte into the match. Latte usually starts for this BYU team. Head coach Christopher Watkins tells us he tends to go full throttle and burn himself out. Now he's coming on in a substitute role. Should be able to go full steam for the final 30 minutes or so here.
You should look how fast this guy is. I think he could be a wide receiver or a cornerback for the BYU football team if he chose that sport. He has chosen soccer as his primary choice, but this kid, I'm sure his 40 is just as fast as anyone else.
Jacob Gandaria, that's Pacheco, lofting it across the field, knocked away by Critchlow, or Hunka. That's Heaton back to Hunka. Tonight's official attendance, 3,075. So the Cougars breaking the 3,000 mark for attendance. Just astounding for club soccer at this level, the Premier Development League. Sean, you and I have watched other matches from around the country with mixed attendance at some of the venues.
Yeah.
I've seen matches where it's been the players and the coaches and maybe a few friends and family in the stands.
Yeah. BYU would compete with even some USL Pro sides across the country.
Colby Bauer out of the match on senior night. Gets a hug from Christopher Watkins. Josh Hunter into the match for BYU.
Yeah, he's an exciting young talent to keep an eye on for upcoming seasons for BYU.
Winnie, take off, Winnie!
Well, if this is the last match we call of the 2014 season, I want to express my thanks to Colby Bauer and his family. It's been a lot of fun to watch that young man play this season. Not a big guy, as we've mentioned over and over, but huge heart, great effort every time he's out there. And you just get so used to him motoring all over the field with that cast on his left wrist, winning headers, making tackles.
Sounds like he'd be a fun kid to hang around with all the activities that he's out doing. I don't know if he'll be longboarding down Provo Canyon often, especially during soccer season. I think he would have started more games this season, but it's been fun to see his talent.
So whistle on Junior Latte.
That's the spot. We keep him going back.
But talking about Junior and also Colby, for those young ladies thinking that they want to come here and prowl on the single guys, both those young men are engaged to be married in August, as well as Nate Stoven, who's engaged to RPR, Chanel Klein. All three of these players will be married this August.
Wedding bells in the future for the BYU Cougars. Of course, several players on this team already married. Sorry, ladies, Sean and I are already taken as well.
Good run, Blake. Keep making runs.
You saw the start of the half, BYU was doing well to keep possession in the attacking third, like I had mentioned. Last 5 minutes or so, they've done more defending than I think Coach Watkins would prefer. This is better to get into the attacking third, maybe keep the ball for longer periods of time. You don't have to go to goal. There's no rush. You're up 2-1.
Heaton centers it, knocked away. And you'll be happy to know that the IFO, the identified flying object, is back hovering about 80 feet over the field here on the campus of BYU. If you weren't with us in the first half, local video production company is doing some aerial filming of the match tonight. They've got their drone in the air, looking down from the sky upon this match. Should be some great footage. A couple of good goals in the first half for BYU. Jace Green with the bicycle/scissor kick. Little debate as to whether his other foot was on the ground or up in the air. That's Urbani. Airmailing it too far. Goal kick for BYU.
Either way, it's a full volley. It's out of the air. Quality goal. Just doing what you can to get a foot on the ball inside the 18. I think he's even inside the 6. But just to find a way to score a goal that's very acrobatic athletic of Jay Screen tonight.
That was his 3rd goal of the season, and yeah, he was right there on the doorstep. It was set up off a corner kick by Winston Sorhates, and it was headed down by Colby Bauer. And Green took the carom off the keeper and just bicycled it into the net. That gave BYU a 1-0 lead in the 15th minute. Just a minute later, Isaiah Madrid struck for Albuquerque to tie it up at 1-1. And then 4 minutes after that, Jonathan Hunka awarded a penalty and converted it past Lucas Champenois to bring us where we are right now. It was 2-1 at halftime, remains 2-1 in the 66th minute of action.
In the 64th minute, looked like, or 66th minute, sorry, Brian Windsor comes into the field for Ricardo Perez. Makes way for Brian Windsor to enter the game.
So Windsor in for Perez for the Albuquerque Soul.
He's from the Colorado Rapids Academy, currently plays at Princeton University.
Must be a smart kid as well, an Ivy Leaguer.
Good run from Blake. One thing for those viewers on a throw-in, there is no offside for the attacking team, so you cannot be in an offside position if it's a throw-in. So Blake did well to make that diagonal run. He's in behind the defender, but he's not called for offside because it is a throw-in.
No extra charge for all the soccer knowledge that Sean is dropping here. A college-level Soccer 101 course could run you $500 or $600, but you get it for free here on YouTube, KSL.com, DeseretNews.com, and BYUSoccer.com. Speaking of YouTube, that is the official online video home of the Premier Development League. You can check out live games, archived games, and feature content. You can subscribe for free to the USL-PDL YouTube channel. Maybe go back and watch this one again, perhaps.
I'd like to highlight the play just there from Josh Hunter, the youngin that just came into the game a few minutes ago for our co-captain Colby Bauer. He did extremely well to take his first touch out of pressure and keep possession, play outside to the Junior Latte and get the ball and swing it. He found the other side of the field to Hunka. It's good quality play from him.
Josh Hunter is a freshman. He's from LeBron James' hometown of Akron, Ohio. A finance accounting major here at BYU. Now Hunka, the overlapping run by Heaton. Instead he goes to Sorhates in the middle of the field. He dances around it.
Checking run from Winston, good checking run from him. Now see Junior on the switch. See how athletic this guy is. He's so quick.
Junior Latte to Sorhates. Knocked away. That's Pacheco, the sub for Albuquerque. Getting around Kip Critchlow. Back to Brian Windsor.
BYU does well to not allow them to counterattack. They gave up possession. They can allow them to have the ball, but they don't want them to get in behind after giving up possession.
Luke Lawrence takes a shot off the mark. It appears that Garrett G might be coming into the match here. Getting a little loose on the sideline, getting some instructions from Christopher Watkins.
His game slowed a lot since that second goal from BYU from the penalty kick from senior Jonathan Hunka.
And here we go, Garrett G preparing to enter the match. We have a camera crew from ABC4 News here doing an upcoming story on Garrett. Good for Utah, the slogan of ABC4 News. That's my day job. I'm a reporter for the newscast here in Utah.
You know, I just got the chills, Rick. I have to admit, the stands here at BYU just started the I Believe chant that we got made famous.
Heaton.
It's called for offside. Pulling this back. If you guys have checked out the YouTube videos of I Believe That We Will Win, the crowd just started that chant, which is awesome to see. Grassroots type of movement. That culture is just sweeping the U.S. across the country.
We'll see another look at this ball, which you can see the ref's flag was up. Heaton was offsides. As we mentioned, not a lot at stake in terms of standings or playoffs. In fact, really nothing at stake in terms of standings or playoffs in this one, but a lot at stake in terms of pride here. You've got BYU sending off 4 seniors, their parents, wives, fiancés here tonight. A capacity crowd of over 3,000. And you know, BYU, as well as they've played this season here at home, they want to go out with a win. They would not be happy with a draw or a loss here tonight. And now here come the subs.
Looks like Blake Frischneck's coming off for Garrett G.
So Blake Frischneck, the freshman phenom from Las Vegas, the Provo Pele, coming out of the match. Garrett G, the CEO of Scan Incorporated, going in, number 7, into the match.
This guy's a runner. He covers a lot of space. He works hard, very much similar to Winston Sorates, the type of work rate that they put in.
And Sean, what's going on? We didn't get a fist bump from Blake Frischneck that time.
Yeah, he might be upset. He's coming off. Probably competitive nature. I never like to come off myself, even if the game didn't mean much. You want to play, especially in front of your home fans.
Josh Hunter trying to recover. Dangerous here. BYU trying to get back into a defensive position. Header by Green. Right back out to Urbani and punched away by Brian Hale. Nice save there for the senior from Alpine, Utah, Lone Peak High School.
Very much like Howard-like. You saw a similar save in the Belgium game. Howard had to parry the ball over the top on a shot.
Urbani just had plenty of time and space to set that up and do what he wanted with it. Now a corner here. So we're back live. So Isaiah Madrid taking the corner. Albuquerque gets nothing out of it. It's going to be a goal kick for Hale.
You could see that the shot was just going under the crossbar. So Brian Hale does very well in a couple of things. Number one, his positioning in his box, covering his line. So he wants to make sure he's in the right spot in the goal, just not right on his line, far enough off that if the cross is in the 6-yard box, he can come and get it, but that he's not too far off that he can cover his line for shots just like that he can parry over the top.
Garrett G upended there, no whistle. Now taken back by Hunter, out to Sorhates. A lot of eyes on Garrett G, the ABC4 news camera. I believe the aerial equipment was here to film Garrett G as well.
I disagree with this call from center referee. He might give me a hard time later on, but I think Kip does well to win the ball here. It's all ball, as you see the replay coming in. I mean, it's a tough tackle by all means, but look at the ball, contact first.
It wasn't from the back. He had an angle on it from the side.
BYU is upset that they took the throw from 10 yards higher up the pitch than where the ball went out of play.
Sneaky. We've seen a lot of teams do that this season.
Kip did well where he was the one that was on the sideline where the ball was played out of bounds. He tracked. He did a 40-yard sprint to make sure that they didn't break out from there and slid, and I thought he won the ball.
Well, all the scoring tonight Took place over a 6-minute stretch in the first half.
Perfect. We just heard over the line that Josh Hunter served his mission in Albuquerque. He's originally from Akron, Ohio, but he did serve his mission in Albuquerque, which is good news to hear.
He'll be going back this weekend. Instead of a name tag, he'll be wearing a BYU kit. Did I use that terminology correctly, Sean?
That was spot on. Well done.
Winston Sorhates. Good run for him, has it tapped away. Going to be a corner for BYU.
You know, Fabian, the center back I talked about earlier in this half, number 19, big center back. He has not had any senior experience in soccer in college level, but he came to open tryouts for the Albuquerque Soul and was spotted there. Did well, and you could see that he just covered and made up a lot of ground. Winston is a quick player, but Fabian gave up possession here near the booth by us, and Winston's off to the races, but Fabian did well to track him and win the ball, knock it out for a corner. It's a good strike from Hunter.
Critchlow to Heaton. Watch Heaton. We talked about his foot skills. Chips it up.
That was sick, nasty.
No call with the contact after the shot, but what a great move to get around his defender.
I would love to see a replay of this move. Scott Heaton does a bridge. Bridge move is where you just play the ball on the one side of the player and receive it on the opposite side, but he did it. He added flair with his. He did a little stop and go. He stepped on the ball and then with his plant foot played on one side and went and got on the other. He was tackled. It was a shoulder tackle to bring him down, and no foul was called.
Julio Velasquez into the match for Albuquerque now. He came on at the same time as Garrett G. That's why we didn't mention that substitution. Several games tonight across the country in the Premier Development League. We'll run down the scores for you. Of course, these are on uslpdl.com, the official website for all of your scores, updates, news, information, playoff scenarios. Go to uslpdl.com. The Chicago Fire under-23 squad, a winner tonight at home, 4-0 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds U23s. That at Toyota Park outside of Chicago. A 2-2 draw between Floridians Football Club and IMG Academy Bradenton. The Austin Aztecs, the 2013 PDL champions, with a 4-1 win in Houston, Texas over the Houston Dutch Lions. The Ocala Stampede defeating Orlando City under 23, 2-1. And the Michigan Bucks with a big 5-0 shutout of Forest City, London. Two more matches in addition to this one going on the West Coast. The Vancouver Whitecaps under-23 side is at Lane United. And the Seattle Sounders under-23s are playing the Washington Crossfire, that one going on at Redmond High School. You hear a lot of familiar nicknames there. Of course, a lot of Major League Soccer teams field under-23 squads in the Premier Development League. As Sean mentioned, under-23 just means players 23 years of age and under.
Let's highlight again DeAndre Yedlin from the Seattle Sounders. 2 summers ago, he's playing for the Seattle Sounders U23 side. Was a breakout player for them that season. And then that winter, the senior side, the Seattle Sounders signed him on a professional contract in Major League Soccer. And then we fast forward to this last summer, and he had a great World Cup. Came on as a sub and brought a lot of energy. You saw his speed. He just a fantastic athlete. And now there's talk of him going to Europe. A lot of interest from Liverpool. The latest bids have come from Roma, which is in Italy. So I'm excited for this to see where he ends up in the next year.
The young man probably made himself a lot of money in that performance against Belgium. Of course, the U.S. going out of the World Cup in that match, losing 2-1 to the Belgians in extra time.
Yeah, his salary was doubled just by making the national team, and I'm sure his new salary will be even double that.
Garrett G, left footer into the box. Nobody at home to get on the end of that one. And Sean, you're right. There's almost a tangible lull in this second half. It's lacking the scoring and even the scoring opportunities we had in the first half. Get the feeling it may be the calm before the storm. We might see a late flurry here from one of these sides.
We see another substitution for Albuquerque Sol, number 9. Luke Lawrence is leaving the game. Number 22, Seth Gordon will enter for him.
The Sol using all the players they brought with them tonight. Just about. They've got a backup goalkeeper, Victor Rodriguez, and Jaime Hernandez, who have yet to see action. That's Madrid. Madrid is the leading scorer for this Sol team. 4 goals on the season. Keep in mind they only have 9 all season long, and this their 13th match. We mentioned they've been shut out 6 times. Sorhates is going to get to that one. What can he do with it?
Back post.
G, shot and wide.
I think he left his feet a little bit too early. You saw Winston serve a good ball across. Garrett G's just trying to commit his body onto the ball. As the replay comes up, you can see he leaves his feet trying to reach out for it. I think if he makes one more stride, it could fall on his foot a little easier.
Yeah, G is going to be seeing that one when he closes his eyes tonight. Great ball played by Winston Sorhates.
Scott did well in the center of the field to take a touch out of pressure and serve a through ball for Winston to be off to the races.
Substitution for BYU. Jace Green comes out of the match, and Andrew Dossett gets in, gets some playing time.
Yeah, this would be good for Dossett. Get him some playing time. Some of his teammates here celebrating for him to get some time in the field.
83rd minute, and we're going to have another substitution as Jerry Dearden appears to be coming in for BYU. Dossett is a player we have not seen much of this season. He's a freshman from Columbia, Illinois, plays in the midfield. We certainly have seen a lot of Jerry Dearden. He's a physical presence that BYU has used late in matches against opponents' tired legs. And there's a card to Scott Heaton, and I don't know what that was about exactly. Scott must have said the wrong thing to Mitch Lillywhite.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I've no idea where that would come from. It must have been verbal.
He didn't do anything that we could see from our vantage point. So a great chance for Garrett G here in the second half, was unable to put it into the net, and it remains 2-1 BYU, 84th minute of action. Crowd stirred up a little bit now after that scoring opportunity. Chested down by Sorhates, quickly taken away by number 15, Brian Windsor. He gets it to Pacheco. Pacheco's got help arriving in the middle. Pacheco with a shot, and saved by Brian Hale. Hale did well to gather that one in and not let it trickle away, as there were 3 Sol players in the box ready to pounce on it.
Here's Dawson's first touch. Look at him take off. Wins the first foul. Well done from him.
Sean, that's an important decision process for the keeper to make, whether he's going to try to catch the ball and take possession, or if he's going to punch it away or deflect it away.
Yeah, it all depends on the traffic around them as well. He wants to make sure if he is going to try to catch it, he brings it in. If there's traffic around him, then and there's a risk of dropping it, he wants to parry it away from goal. Clearances in and around the box. Goalkeepers or defenders, you want to get it high and wide, away from pressure, away from danger.
We saw a crucial mistake by the Ghana goalkeeper on the final match of group play in the World Cup. It was a mistake that benefited the United States as he knocked the ball down right to Cristiano Ronaldo, who easily buried it and pretty much punched the United States ticket into the knockout stages.
You definitely don't want to give a parry a ball to Ronaldo's feet about the penalty spot. That guy will finish it every time.
Winston Sorhates is out of the match. Jerry Dearden into the match now. So BYU emptying their bench here in the late stages.
Look at Ethan Meyer set his feet to have a shot on goal.
Watch the cannon he's got. Loads up, boots it, but sends it just high and wide over the corner. Champois with the goal kick now. The pace quickening here. It could be the urgency of the final 5 minutes of regulation, or it could be all of the fresh legs into the match now, but we're starting to see these teams move up and down the field at a much higher rate. Matt Ryder gets to that one. Clears it, but out of bounds.
I think it was good that Ryder arrived at that time. Hale had called for the ball saying it was his, but I think there was a trailing run that would have beat Hale to the ball, so fortunate for BYU, Ryder was at the right place at the right time.
For all you Facebookers out there, the USL Pro fan page on Facebook can be found at facebook.com/USLPDL. There's Hale coming out to challenge and has words there with the sole attacker. We'll see this contact again.
Goalkeepers are going to be upset. They don't want anyone undercutting them. So where they come underneath them, where goalkeepers are fully extended, their focus is on the ball. They don't want anyone underneath them at their feet.
That's Nathan Pacheco was underneath Brian Hale there, and you saw him put his palms up. Sorry, he didn't mean to.
We've seen from Hale this season, any contact, any 50-50 challenges in the box. He is not shy coming out and colliding with other players. Can BYU top the game off here with the third goal, 88th minute?
Josh Hunter, the former missionary in New Mexico. Now it's Jonathan Hunka. Hunka sends one. Nice idea. Just about 20 yards wide to the right. Wayward shot by Hunka. Chris Tobler preparing to come on for BYU.
Come on, come on. Get open, get open, get open.
So BYU will be putting in their last available sub.
Lucas Scott, far post.
Garrett
Can he get
G.
it to him? Good decision
Hunter.
from Scott.
Oh.
It's so unselfish from him. He could have had a shot from top of the 18, but he saw Josh overlapping and just on his horse, just running full pace. Scott does well to open up his hips and just lay the ball out into space for Josh to have a shot on frame.
Josh, the right footer, he opened up his foot, maybe just a tad too much, sending it wide. Chris Tobler, the freshman from Mapleton, Utah, coming into the midfield, replacing the senior Scott Heaton. Very nice that Coach Christopher Watkins being able to take his seniors out. We've seen Colby Bauer come out. Now Scott Heaton come out.
Your line, play it.
Here's Jerry isolated.
Jerry Dearden takes it into the corner. Tries to tap it back, has it taken away instead. We're in the 90th minute. I've not seen an indication of how much injury time.
Good step from Hunka.
There's Tobler. Freshman has it taken away. Matt Ryder sends it back upfield. If it ends like this, senior Jonathan Hunka has the game winner. Penalty kick in the 21st minute. Nobody's been able to find the back of the net since then. That's Isaiah Madrid.
Goes out for a corner.
4 minutes of stoppage time here, so at least 4 minutes left to play. 4 minutes for Albuquerque to try to tie it up late here, steal a point on the road. 4 minutes for BYU to hang on. Corner for the Soul. It's headed out right to 22. Seth Gordon fanned on the shot. One of life's embarrassing moments right there.
A little bit of a butt trap there. Goes for a full volley and just the ball falls in behind him.
Sean, you played collegiate soccer. I would imagine it's easy to get a little bit too eager when you see a ball like that. Maybe if you're a sub, don't play a whole lot of minutes, you see one fall at your feet and you just want to wind up and kill it, when it might be smarter just to take a couple of small steps.
Yeah, it's almost as you play it out in your mind before it happens, your eyes get all big because you think that you're going to strike an unbelievable goal, and the highlight reels are playing in your head, and you just completely fall short of the expectation you created for yourself just because you're wanting that moment to shine because you're not having much opportunities to play.
Kind of like a wide receiver in football. They say, make sure you catch it before you start to run with it. Some of these guys shoot the ball and start to celebrate the goal before they even put their foot on it.
Yeah.
Kip Critchlow challenging number 7, Jaime Hernandez. Critchlow and Larte on the defense. There's a shot gathered in by Brian Hale.
It's good stuff from Hale to hold on to that. That's a dangerous service into the box across the 6-yard box. This is a little risky. BYU's want to secure the lead. You know, it doesn't mean anything on paper, but it does definitely mean something in confidence and momentum as you're building into the playoffs. Even if it's your subs coming onto the field, you want to find a way to get the victory and the full 3 points no matter what.
A win would make BYU 6-0-1 at home on the season. Stellar home mark. And they're one missed handball away from being 7-0 at home. Should have beaten the Missioneros on Friday night. Missioneros player, oh, there's a shot and a goal. Albuquerque ties it up in the 93rd minute. I believe that was Julio Velasquez with the goal. Exactly what we said BYU did not want to happen. Velasquez gets around Ethan Meyer and just puts it in. And now it's 2-2. Velasquez plays college soccer at Valparaiso University in Indiana. So shades of the United States, Portugal here, as the U.S. also had a 2-1 lead late and gave up the equalizer very late in stoppage time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is on the magnitude of that, but very disappointing for BYU to concede at this point in the match.
Little Ethan Myers doing well to cover there. He just overcommits himself, and the player gets in behind him. Brian Hale has to come off his line now. Is committed, and sorry, who scored the goal? It was
Julio Velasquez, number 20 for Albuquerque.
He just does very well to slot it right by Hale's foot.
Now, admittedly, as we pass the 4-minute mark, so we could hear a whistle from referee Mitch Lillywhite at any point now. Admittedly, BYU has a lot of their younger players. There's a foul called. Albuquerque player down in pain. Now, BYU has emptied their bench, put in a lot of younger players, taken out their more experienced veterans. And as we mentioned, it does not have any impact on the standings or the playoff race. BYU will finish second in the Mountain Division, will go to the playoffs a week from Saturday in Las Vegas. But still, with 3,000 people here in the crowd, parents, family, friends, a bunch of youth campers, you don't want to concede a late goal and end up with a draw. Last chance going to be here for BYU. It's Meyer sending it in. Header taken down.
This is dangerous.
And there is the final whistle. So after 95 minutes of soccer, the Albuquerque Soul and the BYU Cougars end deadlocked in a 2-2 draw. BYU goes to 7-3-3 on the season, 5-0-2 at home. They are 2-3-1 on the road, and they will have their final match of the regular season in Albuquerque Saturday night against this Albuquerque Soul team. And maybe a score to settle down there on Saturday night, although Christopher Watkins tells us he's going to play even more young players and protect his vets for the playoffs. Sean Blymiller, final thoughts on this one?
Disappointing to concede late in the game like that. It's a learning experience. You know, for the younger guys that came onto the field tonight, this is a lesson hopefully learned that they take on for their next tenure with BYU as they continue their career here. Finding ways to seal the game off. You're up 2-1. You've got to find a way to make sure to get anything that's dangerous away from the goal. Find a way to secure the 3 points and to not concede. And tonight they didn't do that. So they can look back at the things that they did wrong on film and coaching points from coaches when it's not that significant, because we've already secured a playoff spot. So most important thing, take the lessons learned from tonight and don't commit them again. Do not let these experiences happen again. So look to see the 3 points in New Mexico. Hopefully they come away with it.
One thing you don't want to see if you're BYU is a team getting complacent, playing so well early in the season, and then now coming up with a pair of home draws against the Missioneros and the Albuquerque Soul. So that will do it from Southfield in Provo, Utah. For my partner Sean Blymiller, I'm Rick Aaron. On behalf of our entire BYU TV crew, we'll say good night, everybody.
Good night.